For millions of people across the globe, life has become an endless, exhausting war against their own physical body and the numbers on the scale. They are caught in a permanent, brutal loop of strict dieting, obsessive calorie counting, and feeling intense, crushing guilt after every meal. Modern society continuously tells us that this constant, painful struggle is simply about willpower, discipline, and making better food choices. But deep behavioral psychology reveals that this frantic fixation on weight loss is rarely, if ever, about the physical body itself. In the vast majority of cases, the number on the scale serves as just a safe, accessible distraction from a much deeper emotional pain. It is far easier for the human brain to fixate on changing a tangible number than it is to face the chaos of changing a life. This destructive psychological cycle usually begins with a very simple, well-hidden desire, the desperate, silent need to finally feel enough. From an incredibly young age, we are conditioned to believe that love, acceptance, and basic human belonging must be actively earned through achievement. Media images and social environments quickly teach us that our physical appearance directly dictates our entire human value and worthiness of connection. The brain eventually internalizes this toxic, unspoken rule and starts using weight loss as a magical, catch-all solution to every insecurity. We constantly tell ourselves the great lie, once I finally lose those 10 stubborn pounds, I will be happy, accepted, and loved. This dangerous thinking creates a perfect mental trap that psychologists define as conditional self-acceptance, putting conditions on your own self-worth. In this state, you put your entire active existence on a lonely pause, waiting for a perfect body that may never actually arrive. You stop dating, you buy smaller clothes you currently cannot wear, and you delay your true happiness and experiences for a distant later. This split mindset fractures your entire existence into two opposing parts: the flawed, broken present and the perfect, imaginary future self. But when you tie your core identity so tightly to a shifting number, your emotional stability becomes incredibly fragile and unpredictable. A minor, natural shift on the scale can instantly ruin your entire morning, triggering a heavy wave of frustration and anxiety. To cope with this overwhelming mental pressure, the brain naturally seeks the easiest, most reliable comfort possible: chemical satisfaction through food. Food is not just biological fuel, it acts as a highly reliable instant chemical reset for a stressed and overworked nervous system. When you restrict food too harshly for too long, your primitive survival brain detects what it perceives as a deadly, historical famine. It completely overrides your logical, conscious mind and forces you to consume everything in sight to guarantee immediate survival. This is not a personal failure of willpower or morality. It is your ancient biology working exactly as it was designed to. But right after the inevitable binge, the psychological trap cleanly snaps shut again, plunging you into darkness. A heavy, drowning wave of deep shame and intense self-hatred washes over you, completely ruining your remaining confidence and self-esteem. To escape this dark, overwhelming feeling of failure, you immediately promise yourself an even stricter, more punishing diet starting first thing tomorrow. This creates a powerful, self-fulfilling loop where strict restriction leads to biological panic, which inevitably leads to a spectacular crash. Behavioral scientists notice that people trapped in this endless dieting often develop a severe, narrow hyperfixation on their habits. They spend massive amounts of mental energy every single day, scanning menus, counting macros, tracking steps, and critically overanalyzing photos. This constant, tiring mental math completely burns out the prefrontal cortex, leaving you feeling emotionally exhausted and raw. Trust in your own powerful, natural intuition completely vanishes, turning you into a nervous stranger to your own biological cues of hunger. But hidden beneath the intense fear of being heavy lies a much more fascinating, subtle psychological phenomenon that is rarely discussed. Paradoxically, many chronic, lifelong dieters are actually deeply terrified of reaching the very target weight they are chasing. The extra weight often serves as a highly protective, invisible emotional shield that creates a safe distance between them and the outside world. If I am unhappy with my physical body, I can conveniently blame my weight for my lonely social life or my career stagnation. It provides a perfect, convenient excuse. People don't genuinely like me because of how I look, not because of who I am as a person. Removing that protective shield is utterly terrifying because it forces you to look directly at your real, raw, and unhealed life trauma. If you become thin and your life still feels empty and unfulfilled, you no longer have that perfect, easy physical excuse to hide behind. Another major driving factor in this endless battle is the psychological concept known as social comparison theory. We live in a digital world of perfectly polished filters, where we constantly compare our messy behind-the-scenes reality with everyone's curated highlight reel. The mind begins to feel a deep, nagging sense of inadequacy, genuinely believing that everyone else possesses a much happier, perfect lifestyle. Weight loss then becomes a desperate symbolic attempt to gain some control in a world that often feels completely chaotic and unpredictable. You cannot always control your difficult relationship status or the global economy, but you can feel powerful controlling your dinner plate. But this illusion of control is ultimately a dangerous dead end that slowly shrinks your entire psychological world into an obsession. True, lasting confidence cannot be built on something as unstable, shallow, and shifting as a temporary physical shape. Bodies naturally and continuously change with age, during stress, because of genetics, and with the basic, inevitable passage of time. If your self-worth relies solely and completely on a flat stomach or a lean physique, you are building your identity on shifting sand. Healing from this toxic, life-stealing fixation requires a monumental, painful shift in your internal locus of control and self-perspective. It demands that you stop treating your physical body like a defective enemy that must be punished and corrected daily. You must begin to realize that your body has been working desperately without a moment's rest to keep you alive through every single trauma. It is not an ornament to be looked at and judged. It is the sacred vehicle that carries your consciousness through existence. True emotional security means learning to show up in the world exactly as you are right now, flaws and all. It means finally wearing the clothes you like today, going on that date you delayed, and speaking your honest truth to others. You have to finally stop begging the number on the scale for permission to actively live your own incredible life. When you heal your core relationship with your mind and self-worth, your complicated relationship with food automatically begins to fix itself. You stop eating out of immediate emotional hunger and start nourishing your physical vehicle out of genuine respect and care. Your unhealed past design may have built the heavy armor you wear, but you retain the ultimate power to choose to drop it today. I'm Leo, and I hope this note helps you see through the false, empty promises of modern diet culture and body fixation. Look past the empty external numbers, strive to understand the hidden psychological reasons behind your habits, and protect your mind. Decode your own psyche, refuse the easy traps of self-punishment and comparison, think deeply, and stay grounded. Walk with real intention, treat your beautiful body with kindness, and always, above all, protect your inner peace.